Hi, comrades. I'm so excited. I'm having my fabulous comrades, activists, movement leader who's doing a lot of Pan-African work and someone I know for many, many years, always inspiring me with the work he does in the ground. And as part of our social movement, Pussy Power Learning Circle, in partnership with Karibu Foundation, I welcome to you my comrade Generali.
Yes, Generali the building.
I'm so happy, always happy to have you.
Yeah.
Could you please introduce yourself and give all the titles that
yeah.
nazo?
Nice. First of all, my name is Generali, but can also call me Baba Mlungisi.
Kwa nini Baba Mlungisi nasisikia?
Baba Mlungisi because I'm a proud father of my younger son. Ndio ako 7 months, and he's giving me hope that that the revolution must continue because I've given him a Zulu name, my love for the Zulu people. So that's why I called him Lungisi, one who gives directions. And he's just giving me hope that even if I fail in this revolution, he will also spark another generation coming. Yes.
You're not failing. You've been doing so much.
Yes. If we fail to take over this government, I'm sure Mlungisi...
Ruto must go.
Yes, Ruto must go. That Mlungisi will ensure that he sustains the next movement. Yes, but Generali is my name. I'm a community organizer with Kongamano La Mapinduzi and extensively a long-serving member of the Africans Rising movement.
Yes, I was like, you can't leave that one. Hey!
Yes, Africans Rising.
I've won this Ankara because of you.
Africa's Rising movement is home. Yes, that is because it's a movement that has molded most of us into activism. And Kongamano La Mapinduzi has also been the backbone. It's actually Kongamano La Mapinduzi is the epicenter of our struggle. Yes, we've struggled to build Kongamano, and that's why we're here. That's why Generali is here.
And Generali is in a Pussy Power t-shirt.
Yes.
Tunawin vita zote.
Yes, Pussy Power. Lazima tu win vita zote. Because one, lazima to support women wetu. Lazima to, because for the longest time, watu sahau that women ndio backbone ya community, because hata Thomas Sankara anatuambia that there can never be true liberation there can never be true revolution without the true liberation of our women. So lazima tu liberate pia mama wetu na lazima tutatee mama wetu. Yeah, so anyone seeing me wearing a Pussy Power t-shirt in town, asione kama tu venye naisoma hivyo, asisome hiyo word peke yake. Unasoma hiyo word with the vision of the power that our women have, because if we do not support our women, then no one will be there to support them. So it is time that we have to support these women, because they are an important tool in our struggle. Yes.
And we're always proud of you, General. Like, you are one of the comrades, male comrades that we know. You've been consistent even with Pussy Power. Anyway, even people in our community are like, kule chali yetu wa Pussy Power.
Baba wa Pussy Power. Yes.
Going back is also like, I've also learned so much from you.
Yes.
Something and organizing and the role of activism in the struggle. And I know also you've been very vocal with also different intersecting struggle,
yeah,
from infanticide to even then abductions that have been going on in the country,
yes,
to the finance bill, to even like showing up solidarity for comrades, even when we feel you're low, you're always there. So what keeps you going, Generali?
What keeps me going? One,
not only just in Kenya, but also in Africa. There's also Africa Rising. I've seen you even with some comrades that also who had visited me, like 2 of them, they're abducted by the Tanzanian government, and you've been consistent even in sharing this information. Yeah, what keeps you going?
I would say I just love, I love the movement. I mean, I've always wanted to pour my heart out the movement, because I wouldn't say that I love myself a lot. I would say I love the movement more than I love myself. But also because this is my family. The movement is my family. And these are the people who keep me moving, because I believe we are one. Once I call you a comrade, because one comrade comes with a political responsibility. I don't just call someone comrade just in the name of I call you comrade. I call you comrade because I believe if anything happens to me, I know, yes, my mother will be there to support me. I know my brother will be there to support me. But that person who will be quick to come and rescue me is my comrade. Because my comrade believes in me, believes in the work I do. Even up to date, my mom wouldn't understand more of the work I do. She just know Generali anafanyanga mambo ya human rights. But she doesn't know that Generali also attends to even postmortem. She doesn't know Generali is at risk. Maybe Generali is being sorted for. She doesn't know, she doesn't even know how I eat, because she always asks me, like, how do you eat? How do you even sustain yourself? How do you pay your rent? I mean, and you're not even working. She would call me, hey, I need some money for food. And I'll be like, okay, I have some little, so we'll have to share. So she would ask me, then how do you get, man? We are just living by the grace, because again, at the end of the day, we have to sustain ourselves. Our lives have to continue. So showing solidarity for my comrades is number one thing in my life, that I believe my comrade is very, very, very much important. And I have to be there for them. Because if I'm not there for them, tomorrow they want to be there for me. So I have to support my comrade. And that's why, because we have to show solidarity beyond these borders that were created, from Tanzania to Ghana to South Africa to Egypt to Sudan. You have to show solidarity. The other day, we were in solidarity with our comrades who are coming from Sudan, and they are currently in Kakuma camp, and we were there to show solidarity, because Africans had given out our fellow Africans had given out their contributions, and we had to take them to Kakuma camp. So we'll be there, and I will still say that I'll be there to show solidarity for my comrades anytime, any day. We have to show solidarity to our comrades in Congo, who are facing persecutions, killings, our comrades back in Kenya during the finance bill, the abduction. So yeah, we have to be there, and nothing stops me from showing solidarity. Yeah, because at times my wife would even tell me it's very late. You can't go out, and I'll be like, no, one, my comrade comes first. Because the other day I was going to the studio to record a song, and it was around 7 p.m. and she was like, but what time are you going to come back? And I told her, I'm going to do something for the struggle. I don't know what time I'm going to come back, but you just be on the lookout that when you see my call that I'm coming back, ensure that I don't stay at the gate longer. And I remember coming back at 3 a.m. and I had to wake up very early in the morning at 6 again to go for another revolutionary duty. So yeah, yes, we get worn out, but again, we have to show up, because it is our duty to do so. Because this regime has also sold fear to our people, our young generation. So if they show, we have to also show this generation that you don't have to lose hope. Yeah, you don't have to lose hope, because if you lose hope, what will Longisi tell me? That, hey, Dad, you lost hope. So if you lost hope, if you didn't secure the revolution, what about me? Will I secure the revolution? Yeah. So because I'm trying to run away from questions from Lungisi, so that it doesn't ask me so many questions that why did I fail the revolution? Yeah. So I have to be there for the struggle. Yeah.
And that's like a very awesome overview about different roles that you've played, and even from a Pan-African, because I'm being a Pan-African feminist and trying to see how, like, if, let's say, Sudan is not free, I'm not free. If Congo is not free, I'm not free. If Kenya is not free, I'm not free. And how I usually say not just solidarity, but authentic solidarity. And I agree the fact that you are acknowledging that sometimes we worn out. We're like, I'm tired. We're tired. However, even if we are tired, we don't give up. we get energized the fact that we can't watch an injustice happening. And that's also like brings me back to the question of indigenization of struggle and social movement. What's your thought around indigenization of struggle and social movement, even from the current issues that we've seen in Kenya, from the end femicide movement, from the reject finance bill movement, and even now the ending abduction KE movement, and even the co-option of new voices, new activists in the space, at the same time seeing things are moving. Yes, we are moving, but the way even definition of movement, the way we understand is different. What's your thought around it?
Coming from the background of a movement, because coming from the Africans Rising movement and Kongamano La Mapinduzi, which is a political movement, I would say that the biggest problem we have in Africa are NGOs. The big NGOs that have big names, and they are suppressing these grassroots organizations, because we have got so many big organizations that come to the community, give you some little shillings to do for them a project. They will go do very big reports, how they made sure that they executed something in the community using the CBO, that young CBO that is in the community. They'll go resource for a lot of money from whatever they gave you. So they give you little money, but they'll resource for a big amount that will have even sustained you in that community. And at the end of the day, you are the same person that the community is looking up to. Yeah, because now because we've had these problems whereby after doing an activity, you'll hear people in the community saying, "Oh, you are the one who's been eating our money." You see, the community starts talking negative about you. These problems, you are the one who's remaining with them in the community. I was running a CBU back in Kisumu, Kajulu, and these are the same challenges that I faced running a CBU, and I just told, I'm tired of all this nonsense. I don't want to. That you have to be answerable to someone, that someone has to control you, because that is what NGOs are doing. They're controlling the grassroots organizations. Yeah. So I stopped. I said I don't want to associate myself with organizations that will control me. Doesn't mean that they're not my friends, because most of my friends are in the NGO world. But the NGOizations, the NGOization is too much. That we have to work under certain protocols. That I'm from a political movement. That you go to an organization, you tell them, we want you to help us facilitate ABCD, which is political. They will tell you, no, we don't do politics. And they're forgetting that everything in this country is political. Yeah? Everything is political. Yeah? So it becomes a very big challenge to even work with them. But they're the same organizations that will go and write reports how they support you, how they've been working with you. They'll even take photos with you and send them to to those big organizations that they resource from. Yeah? So we have to be against that. We can't be sitting there and let someone decide for us. Because we also want that if you are at the decision table, let also these grassroots organizations be there. They also need those opportunities. Yeah, we also have to give them opportunities to grow, because today we won't just let Mukuru to operate within Mukuru. We also want Mukuru to go and mentor people in Kajiado. We want Mukuru to go and mentor people in Garissa. Yeah, because I'm sure someone in Garissa right now, if we ask that person about a social justice center, he or she wouldn't even be able to explain what does a justice center do. Yeah, but we'll have an organization that will come, tell the people of Garissa, oh, they'll do 2 or 3 projects. The other day I was with people from Garissa, And they were telling us a very different thing. And I was trying to resonate with them. And they were green about even how they should be running the CBOs. And the organizations that they mentioned to you, they're very big organizations that they've been working with. And you ask them, but how comes they didn't even tell you about this? Because this is what is happening. They should even be telling you how to come up with CBOs. Simply because these big NGOs do not want to support the grassroots organizations.
What's the fear? Because if you look, let's analyze 2024 on its all awesomeness of organizing and different geopolitics. We'll say there's shrinking civic space, but also we are seeing the public organizing itself to take over the civic space. And I think if you ask me, the protests 2024, it surprised a lot of NGOs. The same way government was caught off guard, a lot of NGOs were caught off guard. But movements were not caught off guard. Social movements, not even CBOs, social movements were not caught off guard because also this has been also, yes, collaborative work of different actors. However, people have been organizing, not from a programmatic point of view. So what are these some of the lessons that you think anybody who is an NGO worker should learn from movement, should learn from grassroots activists, should learn from feminist activists that they are not doing? And having in mind, we are dealing with a very problematic government that is not acknowledging the rule of law and not respecting the rule of the law.
One, I would say that these NGOs, they do not understand community organizing in the first place. They don't understand at all. That's why an organization, this big organization, wouldn't come to the community and just start working. And I'll give an example of Mukuru. These big organizations, they cannot just come to Mukuru and start working or maybe start an event there without people consulting from Mukuru Justice Center, because they want to know from Mukuru Justice Center, do you know these people? You see, so one thing is that they do not know how to organize. They never know how to organize because, one, for lack of a better word, they're working with people who have degrees and whatever, yeah. And these are people who haven't done any practical work. You see, they haven't done any practical work. Whereas here is a community member who's been working in this community, understands this community so well than these big organizations. An example, you see how people organized themselves during the Reject Finance Bill. People came out and it was very organic. Not even Amnesty, not even KHRC paid anyone to go to those protests. Or maybe just to facilitate. Or even water. No one. But people came out with their phones, with their water, because people decided that we are going the organic way. Because some of us have been organizing. Some of us have been going to the streets even without those resources. Of course, we agree, for you to go to the streets, you also need resources. Yeah. But some of us, we've been going even without those resources. It's because we also do not want to betray our revolutionary consciousness. Yeah. So these movements, these organizations were caught off guard because they wanted to get all the praises. That, yeah, we planned this, we did this.
Like how some of them played us on 10th of December, during the Femicide K March. They didn't do anything. They come for cameras and clouds, and the real work were the ones who did the real work collectively as women, not sleeping, ensuring that work is being done and everything. And then they're the ones come and take the credit.
Yes, that is what they do. I mean, all these big organizations, that is what they do. They come for the cameras, they take a few photos.
And media interviews.
And media interviews. And this is what they did in Mukuru during when women were killed and dumped in Mukuru. They came, they did a very big statement. They didn't even consult the grassroots organizations that were there. The grassroots organization, now the team lead, Ture, was just invited to give an off-cut statement. How also, it begs a question. How do we value these grassroots organizations? Do we
Do
really?
you think also like generally, because also I'm also from your point of also acknowledge being in social movement, working also, I've been in board of some of these organizations and also in some other spaces. And one of the things I think we do, we have given them our power, which we shouldn't. And some also we come from a point of also knowing clearly we are doing the work collectively, or else there are cards that are being hid. And for me, like the 10th of December was the biggest heartbreak of many matches, where even our comrades who were arrested, they were never given visibility compared to a certain NGO person who didn't do work for that match to be successful. And even like our members who were arrested, even when the lawyers came to represent this person, the way even they discriminated some of us, some that I had to fight with in Central Police Station.
Whereby one person is represented by 10 lawyers.
10 lawyers and saying the others are others. And this person didn't do any work. He came for cameras. Cameras. Because also this is the thing I'm telling movement, even personally, we need to ask each other accountability from a level of we can't be doing the work and some people taking credit and not appreciating the work that we collectively do as grassroots movement. So as much as we're asking government accountability on this other side, how do we show up in such a manner that you know your role as an NGO where it starts, where it ends, my role as a movement where it starts, it ends, and where do we collectively do the work together?
Pick one.
I don't know your reflection around it, because it's something that usually disturbs me even sometimes when I push back, that because you know good English or because you look certain way is when you'll suit to certain room spaces, which I'm like, the struggle is not about that. Operation, you fight it in all ways that you can imagine possible, impossible. But how do we reclaim that power of grassroots movement? How do we reclaim that power of not only just the work, but also the credit of the work being done?
First of all, we need to know, we need to know our power. We need to, first of all, appreciate the work that we've done for the longest time. And that we need to be alive to the fact that we've given these organizations much power than we shouldn't. And we need to get back to the drawing board and say that now, this is how we are going to operate with these organizations. Because as we also operate with these organizations, we also need to limit ourselves. That anytime they call me, that I should just be there. One problem that we've also done as grassroots organizations is that we've been so idle. We are so idle to such a point that anytime this big organization comes, it calls you, you're always there.
Is it idle or is it a matter of being taken advantage?
Yes,
because also
yeah.
Because I don't think it's idle. It's a matter of you're true to the cause. Your cause is not about program or being a donor funded or not, or based on, let's say, is it log framework? Like you're living your daily lived realities of the struggle. You're not like, even it's not bad to go to school to get a degree. Okay, you have got to school, you got a degree. But at the same time, are you using this degree to strengthen the work of the movement without discrediting the work of the movement?
Yes. Because why am I saying idle is that the NGO perspective, they feel that we are always idle. That we are idle for them. Because let's say Generali has work to do. Yeah? Generali has work to do for the Africans Rising movement. Generali has work to do for Kongamano La Mapinduzi. Yeah? So you come, call Generali, because the last time there is an organization that called me and told me, yeah, now we have meeting at this place. And I told them, no, on this date, I have a congress, a Kongamano La Mapinduzi Congress, and I have to attend it. And this person, when we went to that place where we had gone to, and we told that person that now we need to go back for that congress, it will be a half day, then we'll be back. To our surprise, they were telling us you either choose this or Kongamano La Mapinduzi. And we were like, are you even serious? We would rather check out and go home. Because Kongamano La Mapinduzi is us. We have built, this is something that we have built. This is now our movement. So why are you telling me to choose? Who are you to tell me to choose whether it's your organization or my movement? I cannot. So you see, they think we are so idle that we have to praise them in such a manner. We cannot praise you. Because if you're doing something wrong, we also have to tell you that we are not worshiping you. And this is something that grassroots organizations must learn. Do not praise these people. Because they are going to use you and use you again and continue to use you.
But there's this say, Generali, that sometimes I usually say, our life, my life, our organizing sometimes is contradicting in terms of how we live. In the sense that we are fighting a common enemy, even if the things we are saying that we feel they are challenges and we have solution, when we bring them on the table, the person whom we have been complaining or institution, they are not also adhering to the accountability question. How do I hold you accountable still as an institution? But at the same time, we still continue fighting a common enemy. At the same time, how do you continue building that trust that I give you the trust and then you mess the trust? And knowing the work also we do is dangerous work where it puts a lot of our lives online. It puts a lot of our life living the person we are most of the time on risky modes. So even like now taking you back to what you're explaining and some of your reflection on the protests and even organizing with different countries, where do you think is the role of NGO? What do you think is the role of the movement? And how do you build the trust if it's still there? If it's not there, how do you ensure it's there to fight? Like the way you're saying, Ruto must go. How many people or institutions have been with us? Or how many institutions are sort of gone to the other side that you feel they're betraying the struggle? At the same time, how do we acknowledge our collective power, partnership, and collaboration?
Who?
That is not too much question.
No,
I just want you to reflect.
Because one, there's a problem. And this is a problem that must be fixed. Because when we say Ruto must go, we also need to know, this person saying Ruto must go, how does he or she associate with the government? Because we've had these institutions that online they say Ruto must go, yeah? And these are the same organizations or institutions, you'll find them going to meetings in State House, meeting these government officials. They're the same organizations that are saying Ruto must go. The other day I think it was an NDA celebration of an organization, and we were there and we were hearing how former EDs were betraying each other in the same meeting. This ED saying how they made sure they made who Uhuru is, they made sure who Raila is, how they met in the US, how they planned this thing. They were spitting their nakedness there. Then I asked myself a question. Are we with the right people? Because this is the same person that I've been saying with Ruto must go together. How sure am I that this is not the same person who's traveling with Ruto in the background? You see, because for me, I hate Ruto with all my heart and all my family. Because I've recruited my family to hate Ruto. But now, here is an organization that you are saying Ruto must go with together. Then this is the same organization that comes tells you, no, relax. We are going to sort this, now. Because, and especially when you're at risk. Because when you're at risk, then now this organization wants to verify how you are at risk. It will take it will even take you a month for them to take you to safety.
When the risk has already
when the risk
decreased or maybe it has increased so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's when they are taking you to safety, because it has taken them almost a month to verify, or maybe 3 weeks to verify. Because this is an instant problem that we are having, but they're taking ages to. And just another thing that also comes through is when they interact with you. That when you're doing maybe a project with them, they will tell you that, oh, now we have a policy in our organization that money is to be sent to someone after maybe 2 weeks. Yeah? Money is to be sent to you after 2 weeks. Then you ask yourself, so you boarded a flight from Nairobi to come to Kisumu. You've gone to that hotel, you've eaten. Did you sign there that you'll send the money after 2 weeks? So why is it that when it comes to me, when you're operating with me, that resources have to take 2 weeks? And maybe it's 1,000 shillings. Comes after 2 weeks. But you've used a lot of money. You were even given out of pocket around 30,000. These organizations think that we are fools at some point. They take us for fools. You see, because these are comrades who came from the community and came to join. You actually mobilized that comrade to come to your meeting. Then this comrade is in your meeting. Then you tell this comrade, now, we will send money after 1 week. What was stopping you from even coming with those resources to the ground?
Or even sending.
Yes, or even by the time the meeting is going on, and that is the importance of someone who is in the finance team, your office staff. They have to handle that. But here's an organization that will tell you that, oh, now you wait, we will send the money after a week. There are organizations that have even sent money to people after 3 months, and it's 1,000 shillings.
So how do we shift that? Now that for these things to work in our favor, or to work the way we want as movement, how do we shift now, taking away this power to make it our power?
As movements now,
such a way that we're on the other side of, when you're negotiating based on our interests, we're like, this is what we want.
As movements, we need to come with our own policies. How do we, our interaction policies, how do we interact with these organizations, and at what level do we interact with them? Because I feel we've interacted with these organizations too much. We've given them too much information
and access.
Yes, and we've given access even to our lives. I've once had a comrade texting my wife from a big organization. I even asked how did this happen. She was not even able to explain. We've given them access to even our lives.
Which is what we should have like boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see, so we must now know how we are going to interact with these people, how we are going to how we limit ourselves, and what are we going to say with them, and the kind of things that we are going to do with them. If we know that we are going to the streets, who is our ally? Which institution do we know that we are going to the streets, and we know Defenders Coalition is going to consider bail? We know the Law Society of Kenya is going to consider lawyers. Those are our allies. Those ones we know at what level are we going to interact.
Which is what we acknowledge them for the amazing work they have done. This big up, LSK.
Yes, we
big up. They have been consistent.
And this is what we've been saying, that kama mtu amefanya mzuri, let's say.
Napatia, yeah. Especially with the GZ podcast. Even the infamous side, like the hearing.
Yes, we must also give them their flowers, and especially LSK and the Defenders Coalition. They've given it all. You see. So we must now put our limits on how we interact with most of these institutions, because some of these institutions are hard to trust, very hard to trust, because at some point you hear an institution is in contact with the government so much, and especially during these abductions, they know how they're updated, how things are going, and you ask yourself, then these are the same people that I'm interacting with. How is it even possible? Yeah. So we need to have limits. We need to have also our policies, our movement policies that will guide us through, so that we don't get this grassroots movements being used by these bigger NGOs. If it's a decision that is to be made, we also want to be on those decision-making tables. We also want these young comrades to grow, because
it's a intergenerational learning. Is also movement to movement learning. We like one of the things I usually tell people: we don't discourage partnership. Partnership are important. Collaboration are important, based on values. And I like what the femicide K movement did after whatever we went through on 10th of December, which was not good in the hands of police. And they were like one of those NGOs which also played us. And we were able to write a complaint or concern about now some of the people were put at risk. At the same time, they were not acknowledging even the violence and the sexual harassment that most of us went through. They're only acknowledging from the lens of what favors them.
Yeah.
Which was like, it's not right. If work is collectively, don't make it like a one-man show who wants to look like a savior saving women, who is also privileged, and he has not gone through what other people went through.
Yeah.
But because he's a man, now he's looking like he was saving all the women in Kenya. And I was like, from a level of accountability and from a level of also fighting patriarchy is not okay. Speaking on our behalf, I was like, you're also catalyzing patriarchy. There, even if it's an organization, you have women staff. The same way we say police, if you want to come to handle women, there are police women. Let them come, we deal with us with respect and dignity. And for me, this has been, especially in Kenya, I don't like it when also we hold leaders accountable, especially from high-end NGO. Then they start blacklisting you, whitelisting you, also like talking to funders badly about you or other partners, or even exposing you to more violence. And these are the things also I usually say from a level of also movement. Let's know our enemies. Who are our enemies? Doesn't mean because you organize together, the way you said your comrade. Why is this word being misused? We say comrade, comrade, comrade. But why is this word being misused generally?
One, again, these organizations.
And how do we reclaim it? The word comrade, power.
These institutions also, the one problem that they have is that they spread a lot of risks, but they don't want to spread resources. And an example is how they used some of our comrades during these protests. That a comrade was seeking help to be taken to safety. That comrade had to go to stay to other comrades' houses before being taken to safety. What if this comrade could have been caught in one of those comrades' houses? We were already going to lose again now 2 lives. You see? So they're using that's how they're using us. And we must now refrain ourselves from even calling them comrades. We must now differentiate between who is a comrade and who is an NGO.
But if you talk partnership, how does partnership now looks? Even if you're refraining, how does partnership and collaboration looks for all of us?
Well,
what are the values and bare minimums that you can say, yes, we are fighting Ruto, must go. Yes, we are not agreeing with the oppressors. Yes, we are fighting anti-GMO, Bill Gates. But at the same time, we want to work together with a lot of mutual respect, with dignity, and also with collective ownership of the work.
Terms and conditions. So, one, just as I had said earlier, that one, we need to have our own principles also of partnership. Because again, we cannot stop partnering with these institutions. Because some of these institutions are, because you cannot tell me if maybe Defenders Coalition did one mistake, that it results to now me not
working with them. Yeah, because also we are
because
to error. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if KHRC did one mistake or Amnesty did one mistake, that it stops me again from working with them. We just need to have some standard policies of partnership, that we are partnering to this level. And these are our rules, because we are not going to stick with all your rules. You also have to stick to our rules. Because if you tell me that I have to stick to your rules, then you also have to also understand I have rules too that have to be followed. So follow my rules. Let's meet in the middle as we partner. That I also need to trust you with whatever we are doing as partners. You see? So we must also build that trust. We must build that trust. Because if you cannot build that trust, then it becomes hard to even interact, to even partner with them. Because if I don't partner or I stop calling this comrade, I'll still eventually meet him or her in another organization, partnering with another grassroots organization that I'm working with. You see? So it doesn't, we need just to have those limitations. We need to have those guiding rules that will help us to partner, so that we set the agenda straight, that we are working at this level, that this is what you people are going to do, this is what you are going to do, even in terms of resources, that these are the resources that we are giving you, and this is what it's going to do. So let us do whatever is possible. Because when they give you also resources, they want to control you now. That's all, now, Rachel, you shouldn't do this. Now, this is how you should do it. They want to control you, that now, you cannot do politics. You cannot speak about politics. No. You gave me resources. Let me work. Because my community understands me differently.
So you operate in the community you live in?
Yes. Because this is not an institution that is coming to control you in your community that you work with. And I like giving an example of Mukuru. The other day we saw there is another organization that they left the grassroots organization office after they had discussed about the quarry murders and whatever. Just 500 meters away, this organization went to do a presser.
And that's what I heard. I was so
without even inviting these
and exposing the comrades to risk.
Yes. To make it worse, they even planned for a community baraka without even engaging those comrades.
Now, I think, and that's the thing I usually tell people, like, we need to respect each other in spaces, because they need to understand we operate where we live and we work. Like, our work is our daily lived experience. And this has brought me to some instances where, even with my comrades and people where we organize together, where even we have learned to say no to some partnerships. I know it can sound very privileged, but because our values were not aligning, and we're like, clearly, we respect that so we can work together, but with the demands you are setting and how we work, thank you so much with your grants. And us will still continue doing the same work. And it came with a lot of backlash for us. However, we're like, this is our position. And I think also, from also what you're saying, also what funders, partners, I and NGO need to learn is that there's lived realities of movement leaders, there's lived reality of CBO, there's lived reality of communities and how they organize, but also there's also this reality of stopping speaking on behalfism, on behalf of the community, on behalf of, so there's someone in the community that you can give that platform to speak for themselves. We just catalyze, just push them. This is the platform, because there are levels I and NGO can have an access that I don't have. There's an access I can have, they don't have. So as we are almost wrapping up, Generali, I want to hear from you. Also working with Africa Rising and also different movements across the continent, and also you being a young person who is powerful and leader in our space. if you're to create, for example, a social movement grant fund, like let's say fund, because I'm also in a process of where there's a process of creating, let's say, a social movement fund. What are the things that you say people need to focus on if you're creating a social movement fund?
Yeah. So I think if we must have that fund, is that one, because currently you see we've done much of there's much fund that has been put into civic education.
And not partisan political, because it's good way to tell people political ni ile inamaanisha root cause ya problems. Yes.
Because these are the things that need to be done. But because political education is the only way that we can help also other social movements to grow. So if we have to have that grant, then it has to be for political education.
And how does it look like in terms of people to access the money?
I mean, it should
it be based on proposal? The ones we are saying no. Should it be based on the call? Should it be based on? I know Generali is doing this work because I remember there's one partner we used to work with, whom I really love until today. We work together, and those like our partners who are amazing. Like they'll be like, what you are doing is what will support, not you writing proposal.
Yeah, I mean, we already have active movements that are doing an amazing work. Why should you write a proposal, a 10-page proposal requesting, and yet when they go to your socials, or maybe they already know the work that you've been. I mean, this grant should just be available for people to access it. That this organization needs this fund, let's give them this fund. This movement needs this fund, let's support them. Like during the
Headhunting.
Yeah, like during the protest, as we didn't know that there was a grant that was set for us, and we from nowhere, someone just called us and told us, by the way, Kongamano, you guys have been doing an amazing work. We would want to support you guys to continue the work that you do. Yeah, and we were like, yeah, sure. But again, we told them, so what are the terms of this grant? And they told us, no, it doesn't have any restrictions and what you guys will do. Just help us, just amplify with what, because the same thing that you're speaking about is the same thing that we feel is happening. Because even the Africans Rising movement supported us during the protest. That you guys, you know what, you are documenting whatever is going on. Let's support you with something little to help you move forward. You see, yeah. So this should be a grant that is very much available for people to use. Let's say an example is if CGHRD is having some fund, let's have it support these movements. I mean,
and they give us. I'm looking for money.
Yeah, we're also looking for money.
I'm looking for money.
Yeah, so
to support our movement work.
Yeah, so we need to also, one thing that we need also to tell these grassroots organizations is that we don't need to create an enmity within us. We shouldn't create an enmity within us, because there have also been those challenges that we've been.
But do you think it's a systematic way of our organization works so that it brings division? Even the same way it works to bring division amongst the movement so that we are divided. And there's horizontal violence, so that instead of focusing on the bigger goal, because I believe there's conflict, we'll never agree, but how do you solve the healthy conflict? And that's why I usually say even the work we do is also ensuring that we have a conflict management team that is able to handle these issues. So as we wrap up generally, and I know this conversation cannot just end here, we'll have to catch up more even from our own political education. And to be clear, not partisan, political education, because that's what we need currently, if you ask me, in Kenya moving forward. And we have been doing that, but we need more of that movement to continue, but also funders resourcing movements in a more that makes us win, not to set up for failure. Because there are funders or partners or public or individuals that might find you and then it cause you more harm than making me thrive. So if you look in 2 words, the wins that you have seen social movement pushing or grassroots activists, what are some of the things that you say this is a success from social movement or the civic space in Kenya?
Well, I would say that as social movements, we've really gained a lot. From experience is that we've seen the amazing work that movements have done. These movements have also molded activists. They've molded a lot of activists. You see, and these movements have also supported activists. Yeah, an example is Julius Kamau, and I mean, I would mention more, but you see, because these are movements that feel those activists. For the first time, there are comrades who even went to Ghana during the All African Movements Assembly. Yes, because of the Africans Rising movement, there is someone who feels very much appreciated that the Africans Rising movement came out and supported me.
And I'm also a beneficiary.
Yeah, you being a beneficiary. I mean, and that is why I normally speak about this young poet called Benet the Poet. I mean, anytime we meet, she would tell me about Africans Rising movement, and should appreciate that I introduced her to the Africans Rising movement, and she's seeing the great work that the Africans Rising movement is doing. And I told her it shouldn't stop there. You need to do more. You need to do more, and you need to tell other people about the Africans Rising movement. You need to tell people about Kongamano La Mapinduzi, because there are a lot of success stories that we must also speak about, that we must also say these movements have done, because we also have to document our struggle. Yeah, it is time we have to document our struggle, and that's why we must come together. We must live together as comrades. Yeah, because the struggle must continue. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. If it's a matter of we are going to do more revolutionary songs, let's do them. Because again, these songs of struggle bring us together also, and they're just trying to keep us intact. Yeah.
And then you play a big role in the movement. And one other thing also, as we wrap up, I'd like to mention I'm also part of the team that is working with Trust Africa. And also Baraza is usually a convening for social movement. And there's like amazing ideas, amazing activists who are part of the committee on seeing on now like 2025 can be impactful and centering social movement to be able to build and strengthen the work we all do. So that's also another space I'd encourage you, which is where we are with people like Adi in the space, people like Pumi, like Trust Africa is having that kind of infrastructure. And this is also important for people to know like spaces where social movement can also like know these are the high-end NGO or partners or funders that we can work with there. And then also like the knowledge point of view, because it's not about just money. We have idea. Generally, you are a star, you're an expert.
Yeah.
You're an expert in what you do. And that's the thing I usually say, that you should not forget our brains on the kind of ideas, strategy we give movements, organization, but also acknowledging if there are organizations doing good work and supporting movement, keep up. If there are funders who are doing good work and supporting movement, keep up, because not many people are willing to take quote unquote risk the work we do, but people want to associate with success. So to any funders, that also for you to be instrumental in any space, it doesn't have to be Kenya, but across the continent, people doing the work. I usually say even within the space, I push for funders that it doesn't have to be, you have to write proposal. You can headhunt. The way football clubs headhunt teams or player or scout. There are many movement leaders like you, others even have been part of this podcast, and even Pussy Power, and even across the continent and the world, who do good work. They just need to be other hand to do intergenerational mentorship, given opportunities, also being paid for the intellectual labor, because intellectual labor is another thing that also is being abused in our space. At the same time, strengthening this movement and acknowledging conflict will always be there. And if there's conflict, how do we manage it? And how do we solve it from a level that brings also respect, from the level also that does not take away my agency, to the level that we are all say tunawin vita zote.
My parting shot will be that one, let's support even individual activists, because we have individuals who are doing an amazing work, and because these are people you'll find moving a lot in a lot of areas, and they're mentoring a lot of young people. So they also need to be supported a lot, as they also share their work. There's some of us who you're on social media and just someone bumps into you and asks you, so how does activism pay you? How do you survive? Because these are questions that most of us face when you meet someone. Mazi unapatana hadi na mdem anakwambia sasa activism inakulipa aje?
Hata mashali.
And you're like, yo, you wouldn't know how I survive. So unapatana umempeleka mdem out juu inakuwa ngumu hata kulipa bill.
Nakuelewa.
Yes, inakuwa ngumu kulipa bill kwa zile za jo ushari standards zako jo mimi but let's support these individual activists because they do a lot. Because just for me to sit down and craft a song and bring it to the people and tell people, you guys, by the yesterday I would just woke up and I felt like, hey, this song is so nice. Let me try and do it, and I bring it to the people, and people are like, hey, yo, this song is great. Yeah, because again, when I give out the song, it doesn't mean now that it's my song. It's not my song. It's a movement song now, because I cannot own a song. Yeah, though it's an individual property. Yeah, but these also are property that is being shared to the masses. But they have to learn these songs that we cannot own. We cannot own the songs, yeah, because they are songs of the struggles. They are songs that must liberate us. Na lazima tuine vita zote.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And as we wrap up, I agree with you on the individual. Anybody will tell you is partner of Charlie. That's the song I sing. Support individuals, support yes movement, but at the end of the day, the individuals, even if they are leaders or even if they are individual in their own capacity, even for some of us kufika mahali tumefika ni because mtu alibelieve akasema na kusupport kama
nakumbuka ukiwa mdogo.
Nakumbuka mtu anasema mpaka nakulipia rent. Hii struggle ni real, nakulipia rent mwaka mzima ndo endelee na passion yako. Mwingine anakuambia mimi nakulipia maybe let's say fare. Mwingine anakutumia credit. And these are the things that we don't take for granted that has been consistently inatusaidia consistency yetu inaendelea. So anybody who's an ally, supporter of activists, feminists, continue supporting and resourcing. Venye tunapelekea pasta fungu la 10, pia chagua activist mmoja nasema mshahara yangu ama fungu langu la 10 napatia huyu activist ajisustain na pia movement.
And there is one person I would really love to appreciate a lot. Mutemi wa Kiama. I mean, Mutemi wa Kiama doesn't have limits. If he has the capability to support you to do something, Mutemi wa Kiama would even go beyond. Yeah, to support someone. And he doesn't have zile zati anaji-restrain. No, Mutemi doesn't restrain himself. Because I can tell you for a fact, there was a time when I used to be this small Generali, and I didn't even have this name Generali. We used to meet even with Mutemi in protests. I didn't know that this is the same person that now we will be organizing with in the same space. There's a photo that I've always shared with when I'm with him, and it's like, we didn't even know that we would meet. So this one person, him together with Comrade Sungwoyo, these are two individuals that I would really much appreciate, because they support comrades without looking at what am I getting. Because they are supporting from their own hearts. Yeah. So much salute to those comrades.
So Comrade Sungu, Comrade Mtemi, thank you so much for supporting our comrade and many other comrades. And also the people support every comrade anonymously. Thank you so much. And every funders, alliance supporter, continue doing that so that we're able to liberate our country and our spaces. As we close, shukran, let's keep up this conversation and sustaining our movements for a bigger cause.
2025 tunadili.
Yes, na well-being pia yetu. Na kumoka.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.